Konkona Ghosh, Madhuchanda. My friends, very late evening, very cold evening, rather cold night. Yesterday, very sorry, as my both broadband landline and also the other net both was disrupted for very bad weather. I do not know how long I will continue today. Showmallo, Showmo Sathi, Konkona Orijit. Today, I will continue on the last part of my Assam talk. Then I will go to another issue. Why I discuss on so many divergent issues which apparently looks disconnected, disjunct with the Netaji mystery or Netaji issue. And third, in a very short, I'll give you the overview of our history in last about 100 years. I like to complete it within 20 minutes. I don't like to disturb you today. One issue. At the end of the Bangladesh war, there was in the camp, temporary camps in Bangladesh, in 71, there was 7.5 lakh Urdu-speaking Muslims, that is Rajakars, in Bangladesh, temporary camps. Where they are now? And this figure is coming from their census report, their data. Where they are now? The 1974 data, Bangladesh data is showing that in those temporary camps, only 2 lakhs are there. Even if the Pakistan accepted only 33,000 under the negotiations by Saudi Arabia, then where is the rest one? About 7.2 lakhs. And if 2 lakhs is there in 72, then remaining 5 lakhs, where are those Rajakars? My friends, those Rajakars has entered into this India through this West Bengal. And many of these Rajakars are settled in this Bengal. And their family, some of their families, is dominating in the politics of Bengal today. And the data of the Assam is showing clearly that when United Assam in 1937, Muslims were just 20%. They could establish there a Muslim League government helped by few independent MLAs. And remember, in 1991, that has gone to 30%. And now it is above 35%. And my perceptions about this West Bengal, it has already crossed 35%. I can remind you one fact. With UPA 2 regime, when the census, our census department Delhi was on the process of publishing the data, suddenly one day, the director of the census department was called by Sonia Gandhi. And keep in mind, the whole data was deformed. And these secularists know if the real data is placed before the people of India, the people of West Bengal and people of Assam, the majority people who are the aborigines of these areas, will get frightened. That's why they diluted the data and showed a lesser figure of these second largest population of this country. And Muslims cannot be called as the minority because they are much above 10%. They're the second largest majority in this country. And their figure is being shown at a lower level throughout the country and in all states. But the majority people of this country get threatened. And here is, and some of the districts of Assam is already Muslim majority. Even in 1991, the last data I do not know, as per the census report of 1991, the districts of Dhubri, Gwalpara, Barpeta, and Halaikandi is Muslim majority. And possibly, my friend, you know, one of the two districts of 24 Pargana is already Muslim majority, officially. One of the two Dinajpurs is already Muslim majority. Murshidabad is brute Muslim majority. Malda is brute Muslim majority. At least 4 to 5 districts in West Bengal is Muslim majority. And I have told you, my friends, the aspirations of pan-Islam is not only on Kashmir, but also on Assam, and also some of the areas of India and some of the districts of this West Bengal. And their plan of greater Bangladesh, Islamic Bangladesh, includes the part of Assam and includes part of West Bengal. The growth of Muslim population has been emphasized in the previous paragraphs to indicate to the extent of illegal migration from Bangladesh to Assam, because as stated earlier, the illegal migrants coming into India after 71 have been almost exclusively Muslims. I've told you 46, 47, that period, the migration was mainly Hindu. But subsequently, now what is happening is mainly Muslim migration, that is under engineering, a total pan-Islamic engineering helped by the seculars inside India. I can remind you one thing. After the Bangladesh war, Kissinger, the Foreign Secretary of USA, threatened in one sentence that we will teach India a good lesson. You know what is that lesson? That lesson is USA also helped in this engineering of migration of Muslim population from Bangladesh into India through West Bengal. And one important part of history, let me remind you, who were the parties in the first meeting where the first concept of CPM formation, the first meeting which gave birth to CPM. In that meeting, present was a person from the USA embassy and a person from Pakistan Deputy High Commission in Calcutta. Those are the persons who were present. And let me remind you, the founder of the Congress is Hume, a Britisher, who controlled absolutely first 15 years of the whole Congress from 1985 to 2000. for past 15 years. And the yearly selection of the presidents was his choice. And the Muslim League formation in 1906 in Sahabag camp in Dhaka was financed by the Nawab of Dhaka and the governor of Joint Bengal. And the birth of CPI, though initially it was in the Tashkent under the blessings of the Comintern, but subsequently before the Second Great War, it was purchased by the British. It was kept under the British Communist Party, financed by the British. And during Great War, CPI was not under the command of the Comintern. Please keep in mind. And I have indicated the beginning of the Congress was from the hands of a Britisher, a white, and in the last page of the Congress, its devastation periods, now again it is in the hand of a white, a foreigner, maybe it is an Italian. That's the spiraling of the history. One very bold statement by the general, the ex-governor. And one thing, this I am quoting for the statement of the S.K. Sinha. Remember, this S.K. Sinha was supposed to be normal way, the chief of the army. But he, as this general is very strict forward man, very outspoken man, he was denied that promotion. Some junior person was promoted to the highest post of the chief of the army. But as this person was so skilled, he was picked up for the post of governor of Assam when the Assam was burning. And subsequently, when in Kashmir, turbulent, this very general S.K. Sinha was picked up for the governorship of Kashmir. But here is not the end of the history and the end of the tragedy. If you can remember the UPA time, when the Malagaon blast case, the story was manufactured by the UP to blame the Hindu NGOs. In that framed story, the name of this general was being incriminated. The secularists, the Congress is so notorious. Never forget. It is British who killed Lajpat Rai, Tilak, as true nationalists, to create space for establishing Gandhi. And Gandhi was designed to counter the effect of Swami Vivekananda, the freedom movement in India. And in second decade, to counter the effect of entry in politics of Subhash Chandra after resigning ICS. That counter was by designing Nehru. And never accept the death of Deshbandhu as natural. It's a mysterious killing. And in history, even after partition of India, many great persons has been killed. Just to allow the secularists, this Congress, to rule this country in an uninterrupted way. Let me quote it here. One stanza by General. Pakistan's ISI has been active in Bangladesh, supporting militant movements in Assam, Muslim militant organizations have mushroomed in Assam, and there are reports that 50 Assamese Muslim youths have gone for training to Afghanistan and Kashmir. Another very important sentence, but isn't it? The dangerous consequences of a large-scale illegal migration from Bangladesh, both for people of Assam and more for the nation as a whole, need to be emphatically stressed. No misconceived and mistaken notion of secularism should be allowed to come in the way of doing so. And I will end this Assam chapter now by telling one thing. Can you remember the name of Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed, who was once the chief minister of Assam? This man, one of the very important men, helping the engineering of Muslim migration into Assam and their settlement there. And this man was a very communal man. And this man was promoted to the post of president of India. And let me stop here today on Assam. I've told you how the UPA government behaved with Lieutenant General Sinha in his last old age, who was a very efficient general in one of the regions of our country and successful governor of Assam in its turbulent age and successful governor of Jammu Kashmir when that area was burning. Then I will talk on an issue why I discuss frequently on divergent issues apparently dissociated. Remember one thing. If you want to see the sun, get the idea of the sun, the solar science, the best thing would have been if we could go to the surface of the sun, or if we could go to the sun's surface or near to the sun with our spacecraft. This is impossible. What is the way left? The other way left is to analyze the radiations which is coming from the sun and analyzing that. It is the only option for us to get an idea of the sun. Through many analyses, spectrometry, spectrophotometer, all these things, many ideas. And I tell you, we want to know the Mahakal and its activities. Are we fit to see all these things? Even that is in front of us? No, we are not fit for that. Only option is some reflections of his activities or his presence. We have to analyze that. No other way. And keep in mind, before 1945, all the activities of the political activities of different political parties and the British was centering around the activities of Subhash Chandra Bose and then Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. And after 46, all the activities of our political parties here in India, Congress or Communists or whatever, even British, is a reaction to the activities of the Mahakal behind the curtain. Think of the 1945 end part and 46 early. The people's upsurge in India centering around the Red Fort trial of the INA soldiers. And that actually centers around the image of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. And then the revolts or rebellions in different areas of Navy or Air Force, British Air Force or British peasantry, whatever. That is the sequelae of those trials. That means central character is Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. And after that, when when partition is accepted, and even that, remember, when if this nationalism is allowed to continue, Congress is nowhere, Muslim League is nowhere. Still that 1945-46 early part, two-nation theory is not being sold. Majority is not the taker of this two-nation theory. Majority is not for partition of India. And if the nationalism is allowed to work, the natural consequence is the British will leave this empire, leave this land, and an undivided India will be left here. The benefit will, the only nationalist forces will be benefited. Nationalists will come to rule this country. There is the problem of the Congress, Gandhi Nehru's, and the Muslim leaders. All of them want to be the leaders. And I tell, none of these people do not, to none of these persons, country is the priority. To them, the priority is the personal interests and the group interests, party interest. To none of them, country is the primary. Therefore, only way was to divide the country. But how to sell the division theory, two-nation theory? And here came all brains. The engineered riot of 1946. And that engineered riot created a sensation throughout the country. This far, no further. And two sides accepted partition. That is the only that, and this engineered riot, the riot was engineered to counter the nationalism in India. Because communalism and riot is the antidote of nationalism. And countries divided. And before division, there was a proposal of population exchange that came from Akali Dal, from Shyama Prasad Mukherjee. Even Jinnah agreed to that. But Mountbatten got frightened on that proposal. Nehru got frightened. Gandhi got frightened. Why they are frightened? Because if the population exchange proposal accepted and then executed, that execution will take about 2 to 3 years. And if these years are allowed for population exchange, then transfer of power, then by that time, the ghost which is being prepared beyond the Himalayas, with creation of a new army in the line of the INA, as recorded in the British documents. If the ghost comes with the army, Gandhi will be lost, Nehru will be lost, Jinnah will be lost, and British will be lost. Therefore, a hasty division without population exchange, a hasty division, a hasty partition within weeks was needed for this. Here you see again, all are afraid of the ghost. And then you see, 1960s. The mystery of the journey of Dalai Lama from Tibet to India. Nehru is not wanting Dalai Lama. Dalai Lama wants to take shelter in that situation in some of the Himalayan kingdoms, other like Nepal or Bhutan or Sikkim. But it is the ghost which is bringing Dalai Lama into India. And the presence of Dalai Lama in India with a provisional government of Tibet has kept the dream, the idea of a future Tibet. That is essential. A free Tibet is essential. As a buffer country, as a buffer land in between the two giants, India on this side and the China. Here again you see the indirect shadow of the Mahakal. And even you think of 1970, the Bangladesh War, without accepting the presence of the Mahakal and his activities, you in no way can explain the mechanism of Bangladesh War. In no way. I've told you repeatedly. Even the emergency declaration 1970, 75, Indira Gandhi, the so-called the son of the Asia, got frightened so much. He was always afraid that someone is going to manipulate and going to take away her throne. And to preserve her throne, declared the emergency. And remember, 1964 CIA document. I am telling you, the CIA document, though declassified officially in 94, must have been shared by CIA to Nehru and then to Indira Gandhi, where it was clearly written, Subhash Chandra Bose in India, leading a rebellious force against Nehru. Yes, indirect. You cannot directly see what the ghost is doing, what Mahakal is doing, what is the mechanism of work, but you can see the radiations, reflections, that's all. Even after that, I tell you, in the whole subcontinent, whatever is happening, there is a shadow of Mahakal. Either directly he is engineering, or the enemies are doing something to counter his activities, or somewhere some indirect role is being played by him or his followers. Even, I tell you, the 500 years problem of Ram Janmabhoomi movement. For last 500 years, the Sanatan Dharmis, the Hindus of the subcontinent, is trying to rebuild their Ram temple in that place. But always failure. During Muslim era, the Muslimic sword always were cutting the heads of the Hindus. In British era, British army was always butchering our Hindu brothers who are trying to rebuild the Hindu temples. Even the secularists have done in this way. Always they are preventing the rebuild of the Ram temple. And even in the Supreme Court, you have seen they are preventing the legal process. And here is a mechanism. And one thing I have told you, in last 70 years of the subcontinent, apparently most important factor is the incidence is the birth of Bangladesh, the division of Pakistan. Yes, that is in one way very important. That is to weaken Pakistan. economically, and economically weak Pakistan will gradually disintegrate. It is essential for restructuring of South Asia, giving birth to new Bharatvarsh. And in one way, and for the politics of India, the Ram Janmabhoomi movement is most important, as because for the first time in last few hundred years of this subcontinent, a power has come out from the soil of this country. Congress was built by British. Muslim League was built by British. Communists built in Tashkent under UNESCO, under Comintern, then the property of the British Empire, agents of British Empire. But for the first time, an organized force has come up from the soil of this country. And that had changed the nucleus of Indian politics, the narrative of Indian politics. Pseudo-nationalism versus true nationalism. Pseudo-secularism versus secularism. Concept the integrity of the country. Concept Sanatan Bharatvarsh, its history and heritage. That is the only hope for us. And Mohakal has advised his followers and this government through its channels many a time. Think of the borders. There is always infiltration going on. Enemies of the country entering into India in different disguises. And our secularist force who was ruling this center and these states never taken caution about this infiltration, particularly Islamic infiltration. And you see some of the areas of this country, like Mizoram, Nagaland, Manipur, has become Christian majority. 200 years of the British rule could not make any of the regions of this country a Christian majority. But the secular rule in last 70 years in this country has made 3 states Christian majority. And that is only possible by the political blessings of the secularist forces. These political and Vatican forces are directly being helped by these secularist forces. And remember, any change of this religion of the people of any region, when they are getting majority, always they are a dissentient voice, a separatist language. They are basically all the enemies of the country. They are against the concept of a well-coordinated, well-defended, integrated Bharatvarsh, a Sanatan Bharatvarsh. A Sanatani of a Sanatan Bharatvarsh, a man with Sanatan Dharma, is secular, naturally secular. Sanatan Dharma is secular. For ages, for thousands of years, we have welcomed all refugees from all corners of the world, and those refugees of different religions. They are well placed in this country, and they have lived in this country without any problems. We need not learn secularism from the West. We need not learn secularism from the secularists, but basically the agents of the foreign masters. And that's why I want to request you to look into different divergent issues. There you will get the shadows of the Mohakal, the radiations from Mohakal. You cannot go to the sun. You cannot go near to the sun if you try to see the radiation, shadows, all these things. From there, we can have some idea and can do something to help his report, help his activities, to rebuild this Bharatvarsh. Thank you. Good night. Thank you. Good night. Oh, 36 minutes already. I should not. I hope in a concise way I have told you something. Yes, I have told you. The design of Gandhi by British is to counter the effect of Swami Vivekananda on this country. And the design of Nehru by British is to counter the effect of Subhash Chandra entering into Indian politics after resigning ICS. British could never imagine an Indian will resign from the ICS. Never. Keep in mind. And the killings of Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and mysterious death of Deshbandhu was to create a space for Gandhi in Indian politics. Keep in mind, though I have told these things in a very simplified way, you go into depth, read volumes, and ponder over it, meditate. Then you think whether I am wrong, or I have helped you, or encouraged you to read more, to think more. Don't accept my words line by line or word by word. Take it as a guide for your reading or thinking in your own way. Shubharatri. Shubharatri. Ranesh Gothakurda. Sujit is still now. Okay. Arijit Bose. Arijit Soumashati. Tomorrow, Sunday. Okay. Konkona still now. Madhuchanda. Okay, Arijit. Next week, I think I will be in some subject, maybe Mahakal Kathon or some other apparently divergent, but my no issue, no subject. I have read those volumes on Jesus or Chaitanya or whatever. All are one thing, the end part of Jesus Christ and the end part of Chaitanya life. There are some commonalities, some components, common components, which you'll see in the history of Mahakal. And if you read Chaitanya end part or Jesus end part, just after death, that may help you to understand some of the truths about the life of the dead ghost. Thank you. Shubharatri.